Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast, where you'll be not only allowed, but encouraged to dream big dreams and imagine the very best future for yourself and your family. Throw away expectations and perfection and embrace the messy beauty of what it means to be a marvelous mom. I'm your host, Kirsten Tyrell, and I can't wait to help you discover what makes you marvelous. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. I'm really excited to chat with you. It's a solo episode. It's a Friday episode, so it's just me, Kirsten, hanging out with you in your earbuds, in your car, while you're driving carpool, wherever you may be. Maybe you're already on summer vacation. Wherever you're choosing to listen, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time, and I hope that I can give back to you 10 times more than just your attention span is giving to me. So today I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit as the school year is wrapping up. We're at the end of the 2018-19 school year. If you're listening to this in the future, this is May of 2019. And I'm seeing the close of the school year coming, and I'm starting to observe some tendencies that I have that pretty much pop up probably this time every year. But I've noticed them, and I've had a little bit more awareness about them this year compared to other years. And so I just wanted to share some of my insights with you in hopes that it will help you to avoid some of that end of year regret or any of that end of year shaming that you might be doing to yourself, because I know I saw this really funny image that one of our contributors or one of our past guests has shared that was it was the August school lunch versus the May school lunch, and it was like this deluxe sandwich, and then it was a carrot wrapped up in bread. And I think that's such a perfect illustration for how we kind of lose our steam throughout the school year. And by the time, I'm going to be honest with you guys, totally truth moment. I pulled one of my sons out for homeschool in April. And so I only had one kid going to elementary school, and then I had a preschooler. And so I kind of got a little bit lazy, and I thought, you know what? I don't want to make lunches if it's just for one kid. And so my middle child, Parker, has been getting school lunch pretty much every day for the last 6 weeks of school. I'm not going to feel bad about it. You know, it actually opened up an opportunity for me to go before the school year was over. And I'll touch on this, those like last minute things you have to do so that you don't regret them. I don't know how many of you guys operate in this way out of fear of regret. I do. It's not the best, but we're going to talk about it. And I was able to go have lunch with him at school. They have lots of options. The kids have to choose at least 2 fruits and vegetables, so it's fine. But you know how we lose that steam, and we can sit here and we can look back on where in the world did this school year go? 9 months, a whole like pregnancy worth of life has just passed us by. And what can we look back and find ourselves regretting? But how can we shift that into a space of gratitude and making it a positive thing? I know we're all super anxious for summer to begin, and you get this big old, it's like the same thing, right? We have these different seasons of our year when we have these laundry list items of things that we want to get done, and we might have our summer bucket list, and in the school year we might have the things we're going to do differently, and we're going to be better moms this year, and we're going to join the PTA, and we're going to be super involved. And then the end of the year comes, and maybe I'm alone in this. I really don't think I am, though. There have to be other moms like me where the end of the school year came, and I, for example, had signed up to do a certain thing at my daughter's preschool. And I went to one meeting in the beginning of the school year, and then I think I was supposed to respond to an email, a sign-up sheet somewhere along the line after that, and I didn't do it. I just never signed up, and I never followed up, and we were planning a huge event here in Nashville from basically the whole school year up until, it started in August, our planning, and then it ended in March. And so I just kept thinking, okay, well, once we get through the holidays, I'll kind of check in on that, and I'll make sure that I've done my part and that I'm following through. And then the event happened, and I was like, okay, now I can do this. But then there was a couple months left of the school year, and before I knew it, I blinked my eyes, and the school year was ending. And I passed one of those moms in the hall, and I just felt so much guilt and shame for like, why didn't I make sure that I did my part? I hope everything obviously was fine. And it was easy to get into that pit of like, I didn't do enough. I didn't show up enough. I didn't do what I needed to do this school year. I didn't contribute enough. I didn't pull my weight. Oh my gosh, all the other moms are looking at me like, that's the loser who works from home and never does the sign-up sheets and blah, blah, blah. But I know that nobody's thinking that, right? Like, maybe somebody is. But I want to instead turn it from this tendency I have, and maybe some of you are like me, maybe you're not. Maybe you're super positive and really good at seeing the silver lining and the bright spot in life. And if you are, then congratulations, and I need you in my life to be an example to me. But I just thought, what are some things we can do instead of reflecting with guilt at the things we didn't do? Like we didn't sign up enough. I went to lunch with my kid at school, and I said, "Are you happy Mom came?" And he said, "Yeah, I thought you were never going to come." And I thought, oh my gosh, how sad. I've set this expectation. And he asked me off and on throughout the whole school year. And I tried one time to go, and I had gotten the school lunch times mixed up because my kids had different lunch times, and I came right in the middle of when they both had school lunch. And so I totally missed it. And then just with the busy life and having kids and going different places and working from home, I never made it a priority. And I felt so bad. So I could choose to live in that space of like, I should have come every month for the whole school year. Or I can choose to live in a space of, I'm so glad I did it though. Like, I'm so glad that I went. And even if I had never made it, at least my kid gets to eat lunch, right? I don't know. Maybe that's not a good perspective. But for me, sometimes we overload ourselves with so many things and we think that everything is important when in reality, very few things are important. It is important to me that I met an expectation of my child that he wants me to come eat lunch with him. So I made sure that I did that before the school year ended. So some things that I thought would be a good recommendation for everybody, and you can do this as a family, you can do this on your own, combination of both, is to really treat this as a time of reflection. We do this at the end of a year, like a calendar year, where we look back. We have Thanksgiving to think about what we're grateful for, and we look back on the things we've accomplished through that calendar year, but really looking back at the end of a school year and reflecting on how much we have grown. And so some of the ideas I thought were to create a list together as a family activity, or to create a list even for yourself, and to really highlight each month and think of a specific memory. And if you have a hard time remembering like me, like I don't know what month we did that in, or I don't know what even happened in November because it was such a blur, pull up the photos on your phone. You can go and search by date. You can, if you have an iPhone, you can search November 2018 and all the photos from that month will come up. So go do that. Pull up the photos, look and see with the kids. This is something you could do over the course of a week and, focus on a different month each day and figure out what it is that stood out to you. What was their favorite memory? Did you go to a school festival in October? Did you go on a family vacation in December? What were the things that really stood out to you each month? And I promise when you look back at the collection of all the memories you made and all the things you did and the places you ran around and the things you accomplished throughout a school year, when you can look at it in months, you're going to have at least 9 big things that stand out for your family. And by big things, I don't mean 9 huge trips or 9 big events, but just 9 things, 9 really beautiful memories that, and possibly more if your children have different memories from each month. Create that list and make it more of like the look at what we did instead of look at what we didn't do. Look at what I didn't do. And so when you are taking the time, I do think whether you do this with the family and you're contributing your memory, or you take some time alone, which I recommend because that's when you can really be alone with your thoughts and not allow any of that self-doubt to creep in, because you can really take control of your mind and really observe the ways that you grew. Observe the things that you learned and how you progressed as a parent. How did you grow as a mother this year? What hard lessons did you learn? What weird, awkward conversations did you have with other parents or with teachers that helped you to become a stronger advocate for your child, right? Like I had to do an IEP for my son and I didn't love it. It wasn't awful, but I still had to get out of my comfort zone and go and work through something and help and advocate for my son. And that was something that previously just made me get the heebie-jeebies. So really observe the ways that you grew as a person, both as a mother to them through a school year situation and just as a human being, right? Because we're constantly in a state of learning, maybe even giving yourself credit for the day you discovered the Marvelous Moms Club podcast and you binged on episodes and you grew and you felt like you become a better mother because you heard stories of other women. Or maybe you started reading this year, even if it's not like nonfiction, even if it's not personal development, but you just started doing something for yourself this year. How did you grow? And if you take the time to really reflect on that and give yourself a pat on the back for the ways that you progressed, it's so much better than looking back and thinking of all the things you missed, all the sign-up sheets that you didn't show up for, all the times you didn't bring a treat to the school, all of those different things that can really bring us down. And if you're a homeschool mom and you want to be sitting here looking back on all the things you didn't get to, the curriculum you didn't learn, the experiences that you didn't quite have time for, create that as your to-do list for next year, or just be grateful and acknowledge the ones that you did get to this year. And then I think nothing is complete full circle without taking that acknowledgement, that positive acknowledgement of what you did accomplish. And if you need to, write down a list of the things you feel regretful about. If you didn't make it to this event, if you wish you would have gotten there sooner to sit on the front row, if you all these little things that can really seem like a big deal to us, and figure out why. Figure out why those things didn't happen. If there were certain family trips that you wanted to go on, if there was a field trip that you wanted to sign up for and you couldn't and you feel really bad about it. I don't know. The list could go on and on with the things we choose to feel guilty about. And give space to figure out why that didn't happen. Because a lot of times we give ourselves all the credit for making the mistake when there's so many circumstances and there's so many other opportunities that would have been missed had we chosen to only do that one thing, right? And so if you can really look at circumstances surrounding why it wasn't able to happen, was it life? Or was it that you didn't prioritize it? Was it that other things had to happen? Hopefully that's making sense. I know you guys can't respond, but really, if you look at it and you can break it down instead of making it the shameful thing of I didn't get to it, I didn't do it. Look at, I couldn't go to that field trip because I have a 2-year-old at home and I wouldn't have been able to bring her. And it's hard for me to get childcare in the middle of the day. I was being a mom to my 2-year-old. My 7-year-old will forgive me that I didn't go on that field trip. Next year, I'm going to make sure ahead of time that I've mapped it out. You know what I mean? So, and then also, how can these, hashtag, I almost said hashtag, how can these air quotes failures, these moments that you missed, help you to have more awareness going into the next year? And then also, what things did just not matter that seemed like such a big deal at the time? You not being able to go on the field trip, you not being able to volunteer on a certain day. Did it matter? Do your kids even remember? Did their life fall apart? Did their trust in you break? Probably not, right? And so I think reflecting on the priorities that we're making and how really important and impactful they are versus how we might be making them a bigger deal than they are, how we can go forward, how we can approach summer and let that baggage go and create fun and guys, we just got to lower some expectations in ourselves. We are putting way too much pressure to be perfect at all the things. Nobody has it all together. Nobody does. Nobody was able to volunteer for everything and run a business from home and take their kids on exotic vacations. And if they are, there is somewhere that you can't see that there is a hole or a gap in their life. So don't feel too bad about it. You're doing an amazing job. I believe you're a marvelous mom, and I hope this episode has helped to lift your souls and spirits if you were feeling a little bit of that end of the year slump. And I hope that these tips have helped you and given you some perspective on how you can shift that and make it a positive thing and to create some really amazing, maybe journaling opportunities with your family. So go check out the show notes if you want more ideas, marvelousmomsclub.com. Thanks for listening, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Have a marvelous day. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to take action right now, you're feeling inspired and you're feeling enlightened, and you really want to own this role as a marvelous mom, go to the website, marvelousmomsclub.com/me, and create your own personal Marvelous Moms Manifesto. That is a tongue twister. marvelousmomsclub.com/me. You go fill in some great information, and in the end, you'll have a beautiful manifesto to display where only you can see or the whole family can see, where you can really, really own your role as a marvelous mom and step inside those goals and those ambitions and dreams that you have to become an even more marvelous mom to your beautiful family. So again, marvelousmomsclub.com/me. We will see you over there.